Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're coming to you with a podcast thing.
Recorded from the studio.
Recorded live in the studio. Yeah.
You can now hear all of our mics pick up everyone else's voices because we are in the same spot.
Indeed. I still don't hear my mic at all.
You can hear us, but you can't hear yourself.
Yeah, I hear you guys very clearly, but I don't hear myself as much. I don't know.
It's probably just a mental block.
It probably is.
It's like one of those annoying filters. You're like, I'm trying to block out annoying noises.
You're almost certainly correct. I'm like, wow, fuck that guy and his annoying fucking voice.
We haven't missed a step. Fuck you, Adrian.
Now we can look you in the face when we say it.
Great.
Hey, Adrian.
What?
Adrian.
What?
Adrian.
What?
You have to fuck you.
Oh, you made eye contact while saying fuck you. That's endearing. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime. Cool. I need to get back to somehow still being able to share a monitor with you guys, but also have two monitors.
So that means you need 3 monitors.
Correct.
Then you have one that is shared with the main one, and then one to yourself.
Correct.
You can look up all your weird shit.
Exactly. Mid-podcast.
Yes.
Just video of somebody licking Goku.
Hey, you've been here for a
Eating,
year.
No. It's not licking Goku. What would Goku taste like? I did not say lick Goku.
I asked because I didn't know if it was just a skin thing or deep.
Yeah.
So
what I really appreciate is that the second we were back in studio, the hey, let's talk about board games at the start of the board game podcast, just out the window. Just all fucking banter all the time.
No, we need to give the people what they want.
Yeah, which is banter.
In reviews.
Oh, no.
Now let's review what Goku tasted like.
we need a context. So
he is a Super Saiyan man.
Yep. Good old Super Saiyan man. Yep.
Fantastic. We're Mile High Dungeon Delvers going to be back in studio with the start of season 3.
Nice.
Clue's going to be taking over as DN.
Nice.
Yeah, so.
How did the second season wrap up?
Good. It wrapped up. The big final boss battle was, I'm pretty sure, the only battle in the entire arc of the game where my character did not kill anyone.
Wow.
I didn't knock anyone down. I didn't hurt them. I hurt them. I did.
And this is your paladin with a dark backstory?
No.
This is Monk.
This is my.
Is my Monk with a dark backstory.
No, my dumb uncharismatic but very wise monk who can fly real fast.
He's an eagle man.
Yeah, he's a bird person.
Okay.
Caw.
Phoenix person?
Yeah, but he usually beats the crap out of people. He's usually real good, but he didn't actually defeat anyone. He did a lot of damage, and he certainly found the main. It was clear who
his assists are going to be real high.
Oh, his assists were super high for that. He sat there it was actually great, and it's cool. Wes is in the chat because me and him went and took on the main bad guy who was casting the spell that was going to end all existence. And I kept stunning the person, and I had wanted to stun them and then grab, and we were fighting on top of this big tower, and I wanted to grab them, fly 40 feet away from the tower, and then drop them. But something happened where I couldn't do that. A different person cast a spell that made me afeared, and I couldn't go closer to the main bad guy. I was afeared of them, but I had stunned them and wounded them, and so Dorian, Wes's character, was able to be shove, and they
nice.
splat.
I shouldn't have done this on top of a tower.
Yeah.
My one weakness, falling from great heights.
Why didn't I build railings?
That was one of the first questions we got at the rooftop. Are there any railings? No.
Yeah, straight flat.
OSHA's not a thing here, so you don't have to worry about it.
This shit's Orthanc and Gandalf.
Realistically, it was only a 100-foot tall tower, so if they hadn't already just been beat to shit, they probably would have been alive when they hit and just laying down there
They had so many hit points they could survive the fall.
No, I just mean a 100-foot fall, probably wouldn't kill you. It's not that tall. 100 foot's not that tall.
I can't think of what 100 feet is right now.
It is
we have an architecture person that can probably tell us.
So this is a 10-foot tall ceiling.
10 times this? I'd be super dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy.
Depends on how you land.
I mean, there's a chance you could live, but also it could easily kill you.
Oh, yes, it definitely could.
Can I roll for aiming for the bushes?
No. No, you can't, because then the other guys don't get their chance.
No.
Anyway, now that that's out of the way, nice little flashback for old listeners of what the show used to be like when we just bantered for 30 minutes at the start of things.
You mean way better?
Yeah. But this is a board gaming podcast, ostensibly. And so let's talk about some board games, because we've been off for like 3 weeks, also ostensibly to redo the studio, which it is redone. It is different.
We have a new table.
We have a new table. You can see it on the stream if you're watching the stream.
It's a way much more reasonable space to play a board game on without having to get up out of your chair to then reach over the table to move your piece on the board.
Very wide. Yeah.
It is a foot narrower than the other table, and it is still a wide table.
It is
still a foot narrower.
Yeah.
So that gives us space for big board games and even a regular size board game.
Indeed.
Which, why don't you start about that regular size board game that we played on Friday?
Yeah. So we did a stream on Friday because we're going to be doing those things again now as well, not just podcasts. And we streamed Dune Imperium. That for some reason I always want to say Doom when I'm talking about it on the show. Like something about the way I do my, podcast voice. It's like Dune, not Doom. Dune Imperium.
Because no one cared about Dune for a long time.
No. And thanks, Boyd. But we streamed it. Megan played with us. The four of us did a stream here in the studio. It was kind of a later stream. We got a later start than we wanted to, because that was the day it was like, oh shit, this whole table deal worked out, and I'm gonna go get this table. And I took Megan, and then we could barely lift it, and we had to disassemble it, and then we could still barely lift it, and then we had to bring it home and then barely lift it to reassemble it. And it was a thing. But we were able to get the stream up and running and going. And it was a lot of fun.
You had not played it before.
I had not played. Megan had not played.
Zach and I had played once incorrectly.
Yep.
About 3/4 of a game too,
and not a full game.
Yeah.
What was it you guys were playing? Something about the troops.
The conflict zone. We were putting the troops into the areas where there was combat, and not putting the troops into the conflict zone, which was just that center area.
And theoretically, it didn't matter. Like, we were still counting overall for it, but it was just we were putting them in weird spaces.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
We would be like, we'd move them in, and then just count everything. Yeah. When we could have just put them in that little central area to make it easier to count literally anything.
Sure. Yeah, I liked it. I felt like I was doing decently well. I didn't feel like I was winning at any point, but I didn't feel like I was doing so bad where it was like, oh, I'm definitely out of this. I'm going to grumble.
As is tradition.
Megan executed multiple crucial, key moves. So this game, I don't feel like anybody, and Zach might chime in here, I don't feel like anybody did, hashtag critical error. But
no, for me, it was just I did a risky push that failed, and then I just continued to keep trying to do risky pushes that continue to fail. So,
I mean, you could call that a long string of.
Oh, it wasn't a critical. It was just sustained failure.
It's impressive.
A marathon of failure versus a sprint.
And in some ways that's more important. More important and more impressive.
Zach tried to push my Emperor rep track and got the token. And I had just bought an Alliance specific card to the Emperor, and I was like, oh, you fucking didn't. And then I came back and just that same turn with a very lucky intrigue card.
Yeah.
And pulled out in front of him, which ruined his entire turn.
And I only need, I would have happily given it to you the next turn. I would have been completely fine. I was just like, I needed it with one turn, because one intrigue card I had, I was like, if you have a faction, when you play this, you can spend spice to add 7 combat to this, which would have, and that was would have
crushed anyone.
It was like the first one that came out that was like 2 victory points or something like that. So I was like, oh, this is real important. This is going to work out great. I have just enough stuff for it. And then Jeff came in and was like, nope, sorry, not going to let you do that. And I was like, God damn it.
How's it feel, Zach? How's it feel?
I felt like I was third with 15 troops.
Yeah.
So.
How's it feel?
A lot of the battles.
And I didn't even get in it. I just was like, no, you can't have that.
Yeah.
And I'm not even in this fight.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. Well, and it was because I lost a point in the Freeman reputation, because I was like, all right, I'm going to lose it here, but it's more important I do this. And so then I lost the victory point up there too. And then I was just like, fuck, now I've
lost everything.
I've lost everything. Yeah.
at that point, I was still feeling pretty strong because I think I may have even won that one. I can't remember if Megan ended up winning that or if I did.
No,
Yeah.
I think it was the one you were going to win, and then she tied you.
Was that all in the same round?
Yeah,
because she ended up having a card that she was able to play that did basically the same thing. It added a whole bunch of points for her. It was like her sand dagger person. Or some card that I had wanted to buy earlier because it synergized really well with my deck, and she bought 2 of them, and she used one of them on me to tie me, which kicked us both down, so neither of us got the victory points. And then later in the game, because that's what that was. That time she just tied me, and so I didn't get it. Well, I'm still feeling pretty good.
Well, and what happened then is that combat was going to happen. You were ahead by it was you were in first with 16. I was at 15, and she was at 14. And then you're like, you were walking, like you went to the bathroom or to go get a drink or something like that, and you were just like, all right, well, I trust her to do combat correctly, like in a way that it was like, oh, I'm gonna win this, but I trust her to do the honorable thing and like not cheat or anything like that. And then you walked away, and then I was like, well, don't forget about you have intrigue cards. Do you have one to play? And she's like, yeah, I do. And I was like,
yeah.
Showed me it was the 2, and I was like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So she snaked that, so we tied, so we got the second place instead of the first place,
which was not 2 victory points.
Which is not 2 victory points, and I went all in on victory points. And then it was a couple rounds later, she had snuck up to like one behind me on my like alliance track for the water people, and she passed me on that and took that the Freeman, which had some other like spin-off effect that hurt my plans. But then it forced me to, like, I went back in and I ended up going up 2 on Freeman, retaking that. And I still got cocky because I was like, oh, yeah, and then this is going to let me win this battle. And then she was like, except it's not again.
Because she took the Alliance, and her Worm Riders card was like, if you have
an alliance,
you get like 2 extra combat on top of it.
And it's like 6 combat or something crazy.
Yeah. But the way I did my Freeman thing, I was able to still get ahead of her, even knowing she had that. But then, because she had already scored that, because we had that debate about like, well, he just took this from me. Does it like knock it back down? And we're like, no, you already scored it. And I still thought I'd gotten ahead of her. But then she had another one of those fucking dagger intrigue cards that pushed her to tie or just past me or something.
Yeah.
And then somehow, I don't remember what 3 things she did, but she scored 3 points in the final round to go from 7 to 10. And
in the round before that, she pulled another tie against me.
Also keeping you from key points and key victories.
Yes. And had that not happened, I could have contested for first.
By the way, each one of these things, I was 3rd place in all of them.
Yes.
Yes. And I was always like 1 behind you guys, and I was always just like, God damn it.
Yeah. So Megan won pretty like you had 8, I had 7, Zach I
had 5
or 6. There was a gap, I think.
Yeah, I think
it
it
was 5. I think it was a
5.
It was 5 on there.
But it was fun.
Yeah, Dune is fun, but I can already like even in that one play, I can see like
we saw the game.
Yeah,
like there's not enough green actions after you've unlocked your 2 permanent reputation and your extra dude.
Yeah.
Unless you want the extra action guy, which you're paying money to use an action to just get another action.
Yeah.
Like, and to draw a card at least.
And draw a card.
So there were times that
pay 2 to draw a card.
Yeah, it's basically pay 2 to draw a card.
For
and
free.
And then also to sort of let everybody else do their stuff first.
Yeah, delaying
it. So unless you had something you really needed to do super quick, it was like, I can delay. Then I can see if I need to focus on the combat or stuff like that. So
the other one is like get a troop and a requisition, or spend 4 money to get 4 troops into your garrison that can't go into a combat zone.
Yeah.
I wish there was more green options.
I agree. And I definitely did feel like towards the end.
Because you need those green options, because that's where you spend money.
Right.
Because once you've unlocked those expensive things, like what uses money except for some intrigue cards and a couple spots here or there.
Yeah, it felt like a lot of resources like were really tight early, but then towards the end of the game got to be
like water is kind of always useful. Spice will be useful as like a first tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And to get you money. But the spice is more even useful on just like spending on spaces and things like that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I could see where it's It's thin.
And there is a digital module expansion that adds in like some auction bonuses where you're like using money to auction for certain specific bonuses, but people don't know which or how much you spent because you're putting it in through the app or which bonuses you've chosen. So,
see, but then that requires like, is it like an app that you pass around like on the tablet?
Yes.
Okay. It's a little better, but like I like app games where the app just kind of sits off the side. Like if you're having to pass it around and like enter stuff, that seems like.
And then there's like council seats where you can pay to get into those seats that are like a one-time bonus, but only you can get them, and whoever gets it first gets that bonus. But you can only take one, so if you take one, you can't take any of the other ones.
Yeah.
And there's some other stuff in there that app seems to add a little bit more to the game that I think it needs. It just sucks that it's kind of locked down into a digital-only module app.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that as well.
But the app does run the like solo and two-player deck for you. So there is a physical version of that deck you can use, but there is an app version that you could just use that instead.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was Dune Imperium.
Yes.
If you want to check it out, it'll be on the Twitch replay for, I think, another week. I think it stays up for 2 weeks.
Yes.
And then we'll get it uploaded to YouTube here, hopefully pretty soon.
Yeah.
It takes fucking forever to upload videos, especially big, like 4-hour videos.
Shocking.
3.5.
Yeah, like 4 hours.
If you cut off the front where it was just dead air while we're in our pre-show, it would probably be a lot shorter.
Yeah. Which is also obnoxious because then it takes forever to process
Yes.
that cut off video.
Yep.
It takes, like, video processing turns out is about, 1-to-1 processing.
I mean, if you have a good computer, it's quicker, but,
I have a pretty good computer.
I mean, like a real good computer, like a PC made for video editing is.
Yes.
You do not have that.
Podcast funds?
No.
But yeah, so that was Dune Imperium.
I'd like to play it again.
I would definitely play it again. I don't know if I would play it a lot more.
Yeah, it needs more factions.
Yeah, because even
the faction powers are either beginner and super basic and not worth playing, or the other 4 because there's only 8, and you can't really play. Can you play the same house against the same house?
No idea.
I don't know.
Anyway, that's the only game that I really played over the break. I also played like the dexterity game of completely empty everything out of my garage/studio, and it's all sitting in the living room still mostly. Some of the tools and stuff are back. Like I got like a nice tool chest, and I organized that. That was like a fun little organizing game. I actually really enjoyed that because when I actually try to organize things, I get really into it. But for the most part, I'm just like general pile of shit over here. So, but what about you guys? You guys, I know, played several different games in the break.
We played one significant game under the name of Twilight Imperium 4th Edition with the Rise of Kings? Prophecy of Kings expansion, which is very new and very expensive.
Yes, it's $100.
It's $100, and I think TI4 base game is $140, $150.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, it adds a lot. So we played with the tabletop simulator.
Yes, we did not play it in person.
No, because we got invited to it actually from some people on Slack.
Yes.
They're like, hey, we got 2 slots. And because
that's the one you were waking up like crazy early for.
Yeah. We had to wake up at 6:30 in the morning.
6:30.
Yeah. On a Saturday. Who
And
else would be up that early?
And that was with
Adrian. Only fools.
Only fools. Only fools would have already been at work for an hour.
Exactly.
By 6:30 on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And who would have been like 25% of the way to work on a weekday at that time anyways.
Exactly.
That I do 5 days a week. So I was like, 6:30, that's practically sleeping in. Like and that was with Jeremy, Boyd, Tom, and
his friend John.
So
I don't know who found the mod, but the mod is very, very good.
Ooh, that mod is so nice.
It's probably the best one I've seen.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Someone really loves Twilight Imperium 4th Edition and really wanted to make it so they could play that game way too much.
Yes.
Because it automates so much. That is so nice.
Oh yeah.
Like, it knows what ships you have in combat. If your bonuses are in your like little tableau in front of you, it knows modifiers, even off of action cards.
Oh.
Yeah, like I have +1 to combat for this round. It knows that it's throwing that out there, or like a +1 to like one die even.
And it knows what ships, like you said, it knows what ships you had, so it knows that these roll and hit on this, these roll and hit on this.
I had a promissory note from Zach's faction that gave me his commander, which then it would auto add in. I copied his card into my tableau, and it would automatically add in his promissory notes commander from his faction into my combat rolls.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah. It's extremely well done.
And one thing that's really cool too is that when you can activate a system, so you like right click to activate it, and it pulls the token off, but it also lets you do the shit on that planet. So because one of the new things with the
in the system,
in the system, at the various planets, you can explore when you're first going in there. Like if you're the first person to go into that planet, like you can right click it, it'll be like, oh, I want to explore, and it'll be like, oh, here's the card for that. Or if you get like the diplomacy strategy card, and you're like, I want to use it here, you right click it, and you're like, diplomacy here, and it brings everybody's tokens into that spot.
From their reserve.
And when you want to fight, you can right click to activate a system saying you're going to fight here, and then there's a
separate larger version of the system off to the side based on which one was activated
that you can warp all the pieces into, and it separates them and makes them bigger, so you have a better idea of what everybody
even
thinks.
the ground units will go to where they were on those planets.
And it has things like, okay, I want to do
explore.
Not even that. Like for the combat, it's like, I want to do the PDS shot first, and it has a button like you click there, then you click on the anti-fighter barrage.
It has a whole section to the right. It was like, is there any PDSs? Yes, I could just click it, and then it of course knows my whole faction and what I need to roll.
If you have the space cannons that let you shoot nearby, it knows that. And it's like, oh, you have these ones nearby.
It's like, I'm going to shoot at you, and it knows that someone else is shooting into that combat.
That is bonkers.
Yeah.
It is absolutely bonkers.
So incredibly impressed by that.
Yeah.
Damn it. Now I just want to go play TI on TTS.
Yeah. It is very, very, very impressive. I almost don't even want to play in person anymore. I just want to play that mod.
I mean, I would be fine with playing in person, but just on the mod.
Dude, right?
So we can punch each other in real life for the thing that's happening on the computer.
So I gotta get my bigger TV, lay it down flat, and use the overhead cam onto the bigger TV.
Exactly.
TTS.
All right, now you're getting it.
Yeah. Now you're getting it.
Yeah, that's totally wouldn't just be able to stream your no.
Nope, not at all.
No, we want to be as overwrought as possible with how we do this.
But the expansion added in the
7 new factions.
Well, I was gonna say exploring.
Oh yes,
first. It's not, what was the old one called?
Distant Suns.
It's similar to that, but you can keep exploring planets, and there's different decks depending on the type of planet. And there's relics you can turn in for these and artifacts.
And there's very few ways for you to get fucked by them.
Okay.
Yes.
Very few, not no.
They
not
are
none.
And most of them are optional.
And even the ones that sort of mess with you they have an upside in some way.
It's like lose your infantry from here, but then get some bigger benefit of get a strategy token back or something like that. I was like, nah, fuck that ground force. I'm getting a fucking strategy token.
Boyd does say you were the biggest dick in that regard, Zach.
Oh yeah, no, we'll get there. Yeah.
But there are a lot of attachments to planets that are in those decks as you explore. Like I explored a planet and found that planet was orbiting a Dyson sphere. So it gave it +2, +3 to its production and influence. It was kind of a crappy planet, and it turned into an awesome planet.
And not just that too, but it's a token. You put the token on the planet and the board, and your card now is now it has 2 and 2 and 3.
And the card knows
that
the token got added to that planet, and now it knows the planet has higher resources.
What the hell?
Yeah. But there are other ones that are demilitarized zone, remove all of your units from this planet,
I've heard of those ones.
that is directly adjacent to Mechatol, that you're going to put a bunch of PDS on there and be able to shoot the shit out of anyone that goes onto there. And nope, you can't have any ground forces there anymore, and it's your demilitarized zone, but you can trade this planet to anyone that wants it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's a planet that no one can take away from you, and you can trade away to get something out of it. So that's the sort of upside to it. It wasn't just like, oh, you're fucked. Nobody can go here ever again.
But you can't put PDSs on it, and you can't shoot Mechatol Rex from it.
I understand. There's a big down. I'm not saying they were equal.
You know what? And it's not the first time that I've had multiple PDSs destroyed from the same planet in this game.
Fun times. Yeah.
So we were playing.
So there were 7 new factions.
7 new factions.
Yes.
Three of us were using.
Yes.
New factions.
Okay. I was using the Titans of Ul, who are basically Autobots / Decepticons.
Yep.
Because
so Transformers.
They're Transformers, but they can't. Their planet is basically Cybertron, and it can actually become a PDS times 3 with its bigger upgrade. And its production goes like off the scale. But every time you're going and moving and exploring planets, you're putting these little awakening sleeper tokens on there. And then when you activate it again, it turns into a PDS. But when you activate a system that has a PDS on it, it can just turn into your flagship. Your flagship isn't super special, but it's free. You're not paying 8 for your flagship. You're just activating a system with a PDS. The thing fucking transforms into your goddamn flagship.
I thought you still had to pay for it, but when you deploy it, you can then put it that in there instead.
No. I even asked the crew. I was like, I'm just getting it because it just says deploy your flagship, which does not mean pay for your flagship.
I know. We'll see about that. Well, you didn't win, so there's no asterisk, so it's fine.
Yeah. But it's because the flagship has no other special powers.
Right.
It's just kind of like a better Dreadnought. It's not. Yeah. It's more of like the train in space.
So you were them. I were.
Their anytime you would put a PDS down, you could put a mech and an infantry down instead. And their PDS was their unique unit, which also counted as a ground force. So it was a PDS and a ground force.
Yeah. Once again, Transformers, you're shooting up in the sky, and then they come down, and you're like, all right, motherfucker.
Now I'm going to fight you.
Yeah.
With my sweet energy axe.
Yep. So you were them. I was the, Argent Flight.
Yes.
I was the bird people.
You were the anti-fighter barrage of the faction.
Yeah, destroyers were my special pieces, right? Their special abilities as you got farther along were that I could have like super good anti-fighter barrage, and then if I hit with
more than they had fighters.
Yeah, if I hit with more than they had fighters, then I could start doing sustained damage to like big ships.
You couldn't kill anything with it, but you could auto sustain damage. Yep. Like, I killed all your fighters, and your War Sun takes sustained damage.
But and not just that too, but if I got 9s or 10s with my rolls on the anti-fighter barrage, I could destroy infantry as well.
That were on the carriers.
They were on the carriers.
Because you're blowing through the like...
I guess. Yeah, sure.
And then my mechs, they counted for 0 for capacity. So I could just move them as no matter like my destroyers also had 1 capacity, and so like one destroyer could be like fucking 4 mechs and a fighter. Let's do this, motherfucker.
God damn. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I guess my cruisers were also very good.
Yeah,
I had upgraded cruisers.
And then another one of my abilities was whenever I activated like a unit ability, so PDS or anti-fighter barrage or bombardment or any of those, I got 1 extra die to roll with, which was nice.
So he did Space Cannon 2.
Yeah.
He would get 3.
I would get 3, and then I also had the red faction or the red tech for it. I could be like, oh, my 2 guys are shooting 4, like nearby anybody. And by the way, I used it very aggressively. It was hilarious. It was people were like, oh, I'm gonna come here. And I'm just like, I just want to let you know I'm gonna shoot you with PDSs if you come do that. And they're like, fucking goddamn it. Yep. And then
my super PDSs got that ability.
Yeah, his super PDSs.
So they were firing. So I'd have 2 on a planet. I'd be firing 4, and now 5 that were like 5s.
Yeah.
Of course, I'd only hit with 2 of them.
Yeah, because Jeff's gonna Jeff.
Jeff's gonna Jeff, unless it doesn't matter in any way, shape, or form, and then I'm gonna fucking obliterate you.
Yeah. But then my final ability was during the agenda phase. I always voted first.
Oh, Andy's really good at politics.
and I get for however many people are playing, including me, I get that many extra votes if I vote at least once. If I give at least one vote.
So he puts one vote in, and he gets 6 bonus votes because there are 6 players.
God damn.
Yeah. So then we also played with the Necros. We played with
The Necrovirus.
The Necrovirus. Boyd had the choice to be anybody, and he's like, I'm gonna be humans. To be fair, they're a solid race in this game.
Yes, they are.
Did they get boosted in the expansion?
They get, like, any ground troops they lose, they get a 50-50 to get them back on their home planet. And then if they are doing orbital drop, they can get a bonus. And then if someone attacks you, you can get a roll to just be like, I get a free ground bonus.
They're really good at
conscript.
holding the space once they get there.
I don't remember them ever being that good.
I think they got a little bit of a boost between 3 and 4.
Yeah, as did all the races.
Yeah, and also usually people are like,
all the races.
Well, the ones that deserve to got shit on.
The ghosts are nowhere near as good in TI4 as they were in TI3.
Yeah, fuck the ghosts.
Yep. But then we played Necrovirus, and then John was
the War Sun faction.
No, that was Jeremy. Jeremy was the Embers of Muat.
Yeah.
And then John was the
they were another new race, the Ethereals or something like that.
They could go through people, and they had
they could let people move through them. They could move through people.
They dealt a lot with promissory notes too. Like near the end, it was like, oh, I go to attack you, I have to give you a promissory note.
Yeah, Just give me one out of your hand. Just at random, whichever one you choose.
Yeah,
you only have one. Well, it's mine now.
Yeah. So we started with that, and because I could easily tell, I was like, oh, I have a thing about politics. I want to get to politics early. On the second turn, I bum rushed to Mechatol Rex.
He was in Mechatol,
and I had exactly the 6 influence that I needed. I burned all of my planets to get it because I didn't have many influential planets, but I had just enough for that. So I started it, and
because in 4 politics don't start until Mechatol.
Correct.
Yes,
because there's nowhere else to do politics.
Yep.
Sure.
And so I chose politics that turn, the politics strategy card, because I knew I wanted to open that up. And so I was like, I want to get speaker so I can start looking this shit, but also being speaker's nice, right? You get to break ties. So I went there, and so we started the agenda phase, and the first thing that happened was a card that came up that was, all right, if you want to vote for this, if you want to vote against this, then you lose 1 strategy token from your fleet supply. If you vote for this, then you get then you have to lose 2 tokens, but from anywhere. So from your strategy or your what's the top status or whatever tactics. Thank you. And then so the Necrovirus, whenever they actually can influence politics in some way. They on one of the votes because they have no votes and they can't vote. But one of the things they can do is they can choose an outcome, and if for anyone that voted that outcome, if it happens, they get a tech
of their choice
from the people,
from anyone that did that.
Yeah, so it's one
including faction techs.
Yeah, they can only get 2 of those, but it's
still crazy.
Yes.
So
like the super powerful War Suns that the Embers can get. It's like, oh, I just have the super War Suns now for free because I
Necro.
Yeah. That's kind of how it was all game.
Yep.
Did they win?
No.
Okay.
Well, they didn't win this vote.
vote. So
because we each voted 1-on-1, 1-to-1, and we're like, all right, Zach will break the tie, so everyone just loses fleet. It fucks the humans and one other person, but we don't care about them.
Yeah.
And then
so because I vote first, right? And we were talking through, and we're like, we don't want to give him a thing, but we don't want to go vote for it. So I was like, all right, I'll abstain, and then once it comes around to me, I can break it to here. So because if I break it to go for against, it happens, but nobody gets a tech, right? So everybody pounces it, but then I know that I'm going to get leadership next turn, which gets me a shitload of tokens. So I'm like, fuck it, and I just move it for 4. So everybody loses 2 tokens.
Yep. And so the next vote that comes up is a easily directly targeted to fuck Zach vote.
Mm-hmm.
So you lose all ground force, nominate a planet with your votes, lose all ground forces on that planet, Then whoever was voted chooses someone that's in last place, and they get 1 ground force of their choice on a planet.
And to be fair, one of my planets was Hope's End, which is a legendary planet that lets me produce mechs every turn for free.
For free. So then Zach's like, oh, but Jeff has a ground force and 2 PDS on his one planet and is also in last place. Let's vote off that. And I was like, what are you fucking people doing? He just made everyone in this game lose 2 tokens.
And to be fair, the reason I chose you is was like, well, Jeff, like, because I was like, Jeff nominated Hope's End.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't him, but he was.
It wasn't me.
He was the first person to be like, yeah, I agree with that.
Obviously, yes, I do agree with fucking your legendary planet in every way, shape, or form possible.
Amazing.
Yep.
And then everyone was
Absolutely
like, oh,
amazing.
yeah, totally fuck Jeff. And I was like, what are you monsters doing? Why are you doing this to me? Zach just totally fucked us.
And then we ended up choosing that one, apparently.
I was like, what is happening? What crazy universe am I living in?
To be fair, and it was funny is that he was like, as soon as he's over, he was like, Zach, you just got away with fucking murder. I was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I don't know how.
It was like 9 a.m. I was like, I got to start drinking. I can't handle Twilight Imperium without heavy. And I went through like 8 seltzers there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was all seltzers.
No,
It
I
was only seltzers.
I definitely
Seltzers
felt
barely count.
when I was
Barely.
starting this game, it felt one of those
100
things.
calories.
Do you remember that game that we played where we're like, all right, you know what, fuck it, we're just gonna attack each other and just make giant things and like just destroy it, and then we didn't end up doing that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. This one I was like, I want to play the game a little spicy today, and I did that, and it was very fun.
I still do.
We just generally played a lot of fairly aggressive races.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still do at some point want to play just a slugger TI game.
Uh-huh.
Like no
This is probably-
politics, no discussion. Like let's just fucking fight it.
It was
out.
pretty close to that.
There was a lot of fighty.
There was a lot of
happening.
especially because there were no tech public objectives through the entire thing.
Yeah.
And everything was around owning planets.
Like
And
like even my secret objectives, which of course sucked because it's me. It was like own 4 hazard planets, own 4 of what are the industrial planets or culture planets or whatever. It was like I started next to one of that one and one of the other one. I think I voted myself to get like a law to be like, all right, this person gets 2 extra secret objectives, but they have to be all face up.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just want more secret objectives, and I don't want to have to use the action to do it. Just give them to me.
Yep.
No one cares about the ones I have.
No, that's how I was like, yeah, and Jeff was in last place at that point, and I felt a little bad about it. I was just like, no, yeah, I totally just for Jeff, just go ahead and do it. But I held Mechatol for two rounds, and I actually didn't even take 8 either time. The one that
Imperial,
the one that lets you score a point, because the first one it was like that was when I wanted to take leadership. I'm like, I want to get so many more tokens than everybody else. It wouldn't be worth it. And then
It wouldn't be worth it unless I really rubbed it in.
Yeah. Because they were just like, all right, well, they're expecting to take 8 because Jeremy was to my left. And I was like, oh, no, I'm taking leadership. I want all those tokens. And they're like, you son of a bitch. But
then Boyd took it from you.
yes.
And then I fucked him with a bunch of action cards that were like, all right, your PDS is gone. And then someone else attacked him and weakened him. And then I finished him off and took Mechatol. I didn't get any objective scored in the first 3 rounds just because I couldn't get any of them. I couldn't get 5 trade goods or I took pictures so I could know what the hell they were. Control more planets than each of your 2 neighbors. So neighbors is just anyone you're adjacent to. It's not specifically at the table. But I don't think anyone really got that. I think I got that at the very end. Control 3 planets that have technology specialties. Control 2 planets that have attachments. Have your flagship or a war zone on the board.
Which that one was easy enough to do.
Yeah. That was just the tier 1s. So it wasn't anything like have 4 green technologies or 2 blues or anything friendly.
There was nothing. There was
like,
nothing that was like, oh, you could just do your own stuff and get points.
I need you to die to get points. So that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. One thing that was really funny too is that turn where I took leadership because I had one. I was the first person to act. The person to the next me, because I chose to get rid of the 2 tokens, he had no actions that he could do that turn. except for the strategy thing. And he was just like, I think he looked at me. He's just like, I need tokens, right? So I can actually do something. So he was like, I'll give you this. I'll give you this. I'll give you this. And then I was looking and I was like, I don't know. And then some people are like, look, he only has one token. He's going to have to do it eventually. And then and I'm like, well, I do have 7 action cards. So I could probably stall if I want to. And then they're like, oh, shit, he probably could. I couldn't. I didn't have any of those. And then also, if he had waited literally 5 seconds, I would have done leadership immediately. So I was getting ready to do it. And he's just like, let me give you all this shit. And it's just like, okay.
Yes, keep giving me those things, please.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do this.
Sure. Why not? I'll take free things for something I was going to do anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've done that before.
Yeah. And then near the end, so this ended up winning. We were playing with a house rule. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Boyd won this one 100%.
Yes.
No asterisks.
No asterisks.
No asterisks.
Because of the house rule we were playing. It's yeah. Because basically the house rule that they wanted to play with was it's like on the last round, if multiple people get like 10 points, it's like if somebody gets 11 points or higher, that's like
so
the
there's
first
like an extension
tiebreaker.
for like if you get more points in that last round, you just keep going.
Yeah.
To where the normal rule is whoever gets 10, that's it.
It's a race.
Over. Game's over.
Yeah.
But they wanted to use that house rule because if you're going into that last round, the first tiebreaker is based on which strategy card. The higher up your number, that's where your first tiebreaker is. So if someone was wanting to king make, they could just pull like the high numbers out to where like I'll take the 1 or something along those lines.
But so we were done with that. I was able to I had the second card or whatever it was. I got to 10, but then Boyd got to 11, right? And so Boyd won that way. Now, obviously, if we were playing the other way, Boyd probably could have picked a card underneath me. And then maybe
because he was picking strategy cards first anyways because he was speaker.
Yes. But it's also one of the things of like theoretically the turn could happen a lot differently depending on that turn order. So who knows if that could have happened or not? It probably would have still happened that way.
Yeah.
But I know after playing with this house rule, I wouldn't want to play. I wouldn't ever play with it again.
Yeah.
Because the entire
it seems like a house rule for people that are like high end Twilight Imperium addicts that they need to house rule away this one kind of victory.
I think so much of the game is based on timing and getting the things first and stuff like that. That at the very end being like, and no, it's not. And it's also my go-to win in this game is a fucking tired as hell, but barely touching the line first before anybody else.
True.
Right?
True. I don't think I've ever seen you win any other way.
Yeah.
I've never seen you have a dominating victory.
No. It's always like, oh, there are 10 ships in my fucking home system, but they forgot to bring troops, so they can't prevent me from taking points.
Yeah.
And so, like, I mean, I view it as it's a sprint. It's not a marathon, right? So, or I mean, it's even if let me rephrase that. Even still, it's a marathon. But if I get there 1 second before you, but you're like, you could still run an extra mile after me, that doesn't matter. It's I got there first. So
got to leave it all on the field.
You got to be the first across the finish line.
Also, that really fucks with the mermaids. I forget what their name, but they're
because theirs is always a 0 or something.
Their strategy, their thing is always 0. They're strategic.
Is that the Jolnar?
No. It's the I forget what
Sirens.
No, I forget what they're. But their initiative is always 0, and I think that's a big deal for them. And so take that away really nerfs them. So
I could maybe see that.
Boyd, I already said we wouldn't have known who won. You probably still would have won.
You got to listen to what we're saying.
You got to listen.
We gave you the full. Well, they gave you the full. He won, no asterisk.
Yeah.
Because we use this.
Yeah, it still means I can't complain.
Sounds like an asterisk. He won because of this.
Yeah.
It's not an asterisk, but
that's the only rules that we were playing with.
He won because we weren't playing the actual game. We were playing some stupid. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
In the last round, I was just like, "There's no way I can win." And I don't care for going second, or I don't care about getting second or third or third or fourth.
Yeah.
And I just attacked people and blew my fleets. to have fun. I think I got. Did I get third?
I think
I got tied for third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was basically Boyd got 11, I got 10, and then people.
I think I was
were
one
8 or 9.
behind
Yeah.
on top of someone maybe.
Yeah.
So third or fourth. Not a bad showing for my
No.
Twilight Imperium.
And you know what? The fact that I truly fucked over people so early in the game, and I was able to get second.
They didn't know. I
did.
tried to tell them.
Yeah.
I tried.
Oh, you know,
I tried so hard.
Oh, you know what it was? Is I also was like, I think I was also like, Jeff, you always keep telling people to just like fuck this one guy in particular because he always tries to do shit. Like you tried it, and I was like, don't fucking do that shit.
Well, I didn't, and
Yeah.
it fucked me. But you know what? That Emperor Rep Alliance token was totally mine.
Yeah, it
in
was.
Dune Imperium.
It was.
How does it feel? Zach? How does it feel?
It felt like last place is what it felt like.
I'm starting to suspect that move in a battle where Jeff had no troops might have been a little bit of payback. I don't know. Weird feeling.
I'm sure he has an endless well to pull for that.
Oh
so.
yes. Jeff won. Zach 800.
I mean, I'm still going back to like a game of Munchkin 5 years ago.
You're never
for
gonna.
reasons.
You can never.
Yeah.
You can never do enough shit for that.
You don't need it, but just let me help you on this
Yeah.
one. And I win.
And I win instead of you. Yeah, I don't think there's anything you could do in a game that still wouldn't make that still in my favor.
Right on. So that was TI4, Twilight
Yeah.
Imperium 4th edition.
Yes.
Did you guys play anything else that you want to talk about here on the show?
We played. We finished our campaign of Lord of the Rings, Journeys in Middle Earth.
Okay.
And we've started the expansion campaign now.
Shadows over Moria.
Shadowed Paths.
Shadow Paths. That's what it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're playing Gandalf, which is me, and
I
Zach.
do not like how you said Gandalf.
That's just the way they say it.
Do they actually in the app say Gandalf?
When he's falling and Frodo's trying to go help, and he's like, Gandalf. That's how he says it. That's just kind of how he said it. Whatever. Zach is Gimli, and Paul is our support because he was like, I was the killer in the last one. I'm going to play a support character.
Which I don't know if we mentioned the last fight of the previous campaign, but just to brief, he one-shot the boss, and then the boss came back in a more powerful form, and then one-shot him again.
He used both of his actions to one-shot both forms of the boss.
That is Legolas in that game.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. He fucked him up rightily. So Paul was like, I'm not going to play the killer this time. That's what Paul sounds like, by the way.
Yeah, that's exactly what he sounds like. And I'm pretty sure he was like, I don't think you guys are going to let me play the killer again.
So he chooses the dwarven smith, which is a female dwarf, Dis. And we have quickly learned that he is also a murderer, or she is a murderer. Paul is playing a murderer, lady dwarf smith. She might have some support abilities in there, but I haven't seen him yet.
The main support ability is kingship, and that's for supporting other dwarves.
Yeah, she can support me, but I only get like one card.
No, you get 2 cards, but
you don't get. I don't get
he wouldn't get to then scout a card.
I see.
So
I see.
Because we had joked about doing an all dwarf,
3 dwarves.
There are 3 dwarves
because there's 4.
Wow.
No, there's 3. There's only 3 of them, but there's also like a hobbit and stuff like that.
Okay.
But the problem with them is that max their agility is 2, and
yeah,
that there's a lot of games.
I think you start at 1, right?
So I have a ringmail shirt or whatever that reduces my agility by 1. So I just take 1 card when I do agility, and a lot of them are like, you need 2 or 3 successes, and I'm like, well, I maybe have 1.
Yeah. I think I'm pulling 1 on this, guys.
Yeah, Gandalf was the
most agile.
The most agile person there.
At 2.
At 2. And actually both of our characters are, so normally it's like 2 2 3 3 4. No, it's 2 2 3 3 4 in terms of like their
So Gandalf
abilities
is like 2 2 2 4 4.
And Gimli is also 2 2 2 4 4. So we have the couple things that we're good at, and then garbage for everything else.
Thankfully, the things I'm good at, I think.
No, we're both good at spirit.
We're both good at spirit. Okay.
Great cheerleaders. So
Yeah. So we've
I
started.
hope you now are thinking of Gandalf in a cheerleading outfit.
For sure.
Yeah.
am. I actually even saw him with a pom-pom.
Run, you fools.
Fly, you fools.
Yeah.
Get it right.
Why? Can't fly in a football game. Come on.
It means run. He uses fly all the time. It's why Balrogs might not have wings. Get with it. Anyways,
I refuse to get with
There
it.
is
in
a
terms of Lord
ridiculous debate in the Lord of the Rings community about whether Balrogs have wings. It's crazy. I didn't know about this.
I had
until
posted that
recently.
because I had seen a video on
Yeah.
it, and I was like, maybe they're because Balrogs have fallen to their deaths multiple times.
Maybe they're like penguin wings. They're just for show.
Like a really great way to kill a Balrog is just toss it off something
I mean,
high.
it worked pretty well.
Like what we did to finish the boss in our Dungeon Delver game.
Yes, exactly. So we're in our new campaign. It's sort of on the east side of Moria. It's in the spidery woods of Mirkwood, where Legolas is from, I think. Yes.
I guess that is the east side of Moria, technically.
Yeah. The Gray Mountains.
Fucking Boyd.
Yeah, can't take him anywhere. Anyways. So we've got the Smith, got the Gimli, Guardian, and Gandalf, the Meddler. The Meddler is interesting because every class that I had seen so far will have like 3 XP, 3 7 XP, 3 12 XP, where Gandalf has some 16 experience in there, like two 16s and 2 12s or something like that. So I was saving up to get that 16 in there. We played through the first couple of campaigns. I was like, I'm going to save up for these big ones. And then we failed the last one that made me 1 XP short. And I was like, I'm at 15. God damn it. And it was only our second failure across both the campaigns.
That's not bad.
And it was because Paul was like, oh, that last mission we didn't say final objective before it ended, so I think we can pull the threat all the way to the end to get as much as we can out of this map, and then do that thing that's the objective, and then it pulls like, all right, here's final objective, you have to go kill these things over there, and we had like half a turn to be able to do it, and I was like, that's not fucking happening.
No.
So it's Paul's fault.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Because if we had done things and not just burned like literally a whole turn just trying to like adventure around, we got lore and stuff like that, but
Might not be worth it.
but it was also like the final. So this campaign has like 3 different like spots you go to, and you do like a series of missions in there, and then there's a final one. This was the final one of the part 1 that we failed. So whatever prize we were going to get for completing a third of this campaign, we have no idea, because it's like, you failed, go on to the next one. We're not even going to tell you what you possibly may have missed out on.
God damn it.
Yep. We have no idea what we missed out on by doing a mission for the Elven King.
Way to go, Paul.
Yep. Fuck that right up.
I know, right?
But yeah, campaign's going. It's been fun. Otherwise, it's cool to play different characters. But
We'll continue on.
yep,
Cool. That it? Or you got one more?
no, that's
Can't
it.
remember.
That's it.
So now we can actually move on to the banter that we bantered about earlier, because there was banter. We have, let's see, we covered new table. We covered slightly revamped studio.
We're getting new chairs. They should be here at some point.
They were supposed to be your fucking Friday. Fucking American Furniture Warehouse. Bunch of punks. If it's not there tomorrow and it's not there Wednesday, then it should hopefully be there by the time we're back, because I'm going to go to Michigan for a week. So yeah, we won't record. There won't be a stream this Friday, and we won't record next week because I'll be in Michigan, unless Zach and Jeff for some reason decide to record just a 2-person episode, or like, I don't know. Wes might be nearing the end of his like mandatory 2-week post second dose. Did I use any Patreon money? Yes, the Patreon / sponsorship fund pool, the podcast fund bought the table.
All $50.
All
$50.
Yeah. It's a nice table for
It is
$50.
a great table for
Yeah.
$50. So this story actually makes me kind of like, so the table itself, getting the table for $50, great, super happy about it. They were all like apologetic about like these small little chew marks on the legs, like down on the feet by the bottom of it, because they're like, oh yeah, we got like a 6-month-old like Dachshund like at the beginning of the pandemic, and so it had no socialization. It was just locked inside all the time, and so it chewed the table. Really sorry about that. And I was like, you're giving me one of the best tables I've ever owned for $50. Like, I don't care about the small chewing of your dachshund.
Now, I'm pretty sure the people that are watching us can see it in our eyes that there are chew marks on the bottom of this
For
table.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. You guys were like, something seems off with those guys. There must be chew marks on the table.
Yeah.
But the sad part, so like Megan and I go, so the people were moving out of the house. So the lady, like initially I'd set up a time, and then I was on my way there, and she was like, actually, she'd messaged me on Facebook, because it was all through Facebook Messenger, Facebook Marketplace, which is garbage.
Yes.
Fucking just the entire interface of it is shit. And she's like, I need to know that you're coming because like 5 different people have come for this table and no one has taken it. And half of them haven't even shown up. And I was like, yeah, like I'm running a little behind because I-25 traffic is the worst. And I'm in a giant Lowe's truck, so I can't like maneuver like I normally do. But I'm on my way.
Like an asshole.
Like an asshole. Yeah. She's like, okay, well, actually, I'm not going to be there because I have to go pick up my kid. She's like, somebody else is supposed to come pick something else up, so the back door's unlocked, so you can just go in and get the table. And I was like, okay, sure. And I told Megan that, and she was like, they're just going to let us go into their house? And I was
As
like,
soon as you go, when you're just going to hear click behind you.
No, it turns out they were moving.
Would you like to play a game?
Yeah, that's why we got the table.
They were moving out, and she was like, and she did message like, you know, just so you don't think I'm weird, like we haven't lived there in weeks. Like there's almost nothing there but the table.
Oh,
If anyone steals anything, they're doing us a favor.
Exactly. I think that's exactly what it was at this point. Like, please empty this out. So we get there, and it was a beautiful house. It was like right down by I keep wanting to say Cheeseman. It's not Cheeseman. It's one of the other major parks in Denver. I know there's a bunch. Down off of I-25, just past Santa Fe. I don't know.
Rose Hill.
No.
Ruby Hill.
But anyway, beautiful park, like beautiful neighborhood, old like exposed brick walls, like really like one of those older turn of the century houses. Beautiful house. Megan and I, like the whole time we were like initially there, it was just the two of us. And we're like, man, this is like a great house. Like, I'd love to have this house. Like, they're clearly moving out. Like, I wonder how much this house is selling for, yada, yada, yada.
1.2.
Well, so as we're moving out, no, even worse.
Oh.
As not necessarily in the price tag. As we're moving the table, though, like somebody showed up, a guy, I don't know if he was like a husband or a friend or a brother, somebody who was like clearly knew her and he kept trying to help, and he like actually offended Megan a little bit because at one point we were trying to carry it through the door. And he was like, do you need help? And Megan was like, no, I've got this. And he was like, well, here, let me help. And like budged in. And she was like, so later when we got home, she was like, that's really fucking annoying. Like, I appreciate that he wanted to help and it was a heavy fucking table. She's like, but if I say I have it, like, especially when we're in like an awkward spot, and it's like, I have it, you know, here. And then he tried to barge in and it like made it worse. She's like, that sucked. But anyhow, we were chatting with him. We were like, yeah, we love this house. Like, you know, it's sad you guys have to move out and everything. He's like, yeah, they're tearing it down.
Wow.
Oh.
He's like, yeah, developer bought it for like $1 million and they're going to tear it down and build like who knows what
Duplex
fucking monstrosity
yeah.
and then probably sell it for 1.5 million.
Yeah.
You know, 2 million, who knows? It's definitely one of those parts of Denver where like well over $1 million. He's like, yeah, other houses in this neighborhood are going for like millions of dollars. He's like, we weren't going to stay in this place. Yeah. Like the money was too good.
Right.
It's like, oh, that's sad. Like that would have been like a dream home for us.
Yeah.
We would have loved that house. And it's just going to get razed.
Yep.
Womp, 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 womp.
Well done, real estate.
Yeah, right?
It's not free real estate.
No, there's no such thing as free real estate.
No. It's that starter house you bought might accidentally become your forever house.
Yes. I don't know if we'll ever move out of this shitty house.
It's only just going to get
It will only be here for 5 years. Yeah, it will get worth more and more, but not at a fast enough rate to make it affordable to move somewhere else.
Exactly.
in this area.
True. We can move to fucking Kentucky.
Maybe the upper peninsula of Michigan.
There's no mountains there.
That's true.
I would hate being away from mountains.
I actually looked at what a ski hill in Wisconsin looks like.
Ooh.
I was just like, How? It's a hill. It's just a hill. That's all it is.
It's like the shortest section of School Marm is the biggest, like, best run on the mountain.
Yeah. It's nuts.
Yeah.
I can only assume it's kind of steep, maybe in spots. But like, all right, you're going up a lift like 25 times a day. Like,
Yep. There is a really good resort in the UP. I'm drawing a blank on what it's called, but they get just bonkers snow, and they're almost all ungroomed. So it's just a bunch of fresh powder, and it's like in a weird spot along Lake Superior where it's kind of steepish.
Yeah.
It's not Colorado, obviously.
Yeah.
But the snow quality
It's
more
not
than
like
makes up for it.
Whatever length miles, whatever School Marm is.
3.5 miles is School Marm,
Yeah.
top to bottom. 3.5 of the windiness there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the first beer you brought us, Jeff? We haven't done a beer update in a long time.
It's a Denver beer company.
You knew all about it when you got here. Granted, that was like 2 hours ago, so it's understandable you've forgotten.
Yeah.
In the meantime, after I finished that, I moved on to a Cranky Anchor IPA that I'm now almost finished with, and I will be switching after that to Founders All Day IPA to round out the episode.
Styrian Lannister double dry hopped Imperial IPA, 8.3%. And I want to say it has a bunch of the same type of hop in it, a bunch of Styrian.
Okay.
And then they made a pun of like Styrian Lannister for it.
Yeah.
Because Tyrion Lannister like to drink.
Yeah.
So that's what we were drinking earlier. It was a
That's
drink.
what you guys were drinking later?
Yes.
This
Earlier,
was Zach Not Allowed beer.
No.
He wouldn't have liked it.
No.
Although
I'd drinking it out of spite, but that's
exactly.
Only to deny you the pleasure of
Yet
drinking.
another example of the many reasons I have to spite you in like life that I'll never actually live. Like I'll never do anything as glorious as you spite chugging a superpower IPA from Comrade Brewing. Like spite chugging at like 1 a.m. after we'd all been drinking for a while.
Yep.
Anyhow.
And that's the rest of that story.
But yeah, otherwise I don't have a lot of other bantery things. I'm going to Michigan. That's why we're not doing all the episode stuff that I mentioned there. Megan had a little baby niece who was born. She's excited to go see her on her sister's last week of maternity leave.
Our one of our head lab people just had a baby this morning.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going to Michigan. Dungeon Delvers wrapped up. I mentioned that earlier.
Season 3.
Season 3 will be starting in a few weeks. Season 3 probably won't start for over a month, but we'll be doing some one-shots in a few weeks in the meantime. It hasn't snowed. I haven't snowboarded.
It has rained.
It has rained.
Significantly.
It was 85 degrees yesterday, and I was like coming here, and I was like, oh, well, obviously it's going to be close to the same temperature, so let me just put on.
You have a watch that literally tells you the temperature on it.
I didn't have it on at the time, or I did, but I wasn't looking at it. But then I came out and it was like 40 degrees and rainy, and I was like, what the fuck? God damn it, Colorado.
Yeah, I had to break out my heavy waterproof coat because I was like, it's going to be cold and rainy, and I might have to go outside in a forklift for a significant period of time today. So I'm bringing the heavy duty jacket.
Yeah, screw that noise.
Yeah, but it ended up kind of just sort of misting all day. It wasn't crazy rain.
No.
But, like everyone says, we need it.
Yes.
It's so dry here. We need the moisture.
Mm-hmm.
So dry.
So dry.
I've been playing a lot of Stellaris again. I still really like Stellaris. The new expansion, though,
Nemesis,
not balanced. I don't know if it's Nemesis that's the problem, or if it's the fact this is my first time playing a Hive Mind, because they get some other boosts and it disables all the tutorial stuff because it's an advanced race. But I am crushing. I'm to the point, and one of the things Nemesis added that I'm actually really excited about, and I might just go ahead and try it out. You have the option to become the end game Crisis. So, like, the entire rest of the galaxy will need to unite against you or fall.
I am the crisis now.
And considering how much more powerful I am than almost anything other than, like, the fallen empires that are stupid powerful anyway.
Yeah.
I might have to become the crisis.
Europa Universalis.
I've never played any
Neither
of
have I.
the Europa Universalis.
Yeah.
Are they more civvy or are they more spacey?
They're more...
They're more civvy, I think, right?
No, they're...
I'm sure Ofer will
Just
correct
don't,
us
just
shortly.
don't even look at it. It's fine. It's fine. Just ignore they exist. Anyways, I have played through...
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
never mind.
No, I've heard real
Mind.
bad things about that DLC. Yeah.
I have played through the entirety of Disco Elysium.
Oh, yes. I played that a long time ago, and I did not like it. So I didn't get very far.
I didn't play it before the Final Cut came out, which was this last March. Final Cut added full voice acting for the entire game. And I didn't play it before, but I assume it has added a significant quality upgrade to literally everything in that game.
I think I own it, actually.
If you own Disco Elysium, you get the Final Cut for free. It's just a free update.
It is, yeah. The voice acting adds a lot of good stuff to it.
Yes. It is a complicated game to talk about because you wake up, you have no memory of who you are, what you're doing, why you're there. You find out that you are a detective that has to solve a murder. You have a guy from like another
Nope, I don't have it.
department that meets you there that does not know you are completely amnesiac. And you don't know why you have amnesia. You wake up with a raging hangover that you slowly find out that you have been on a 2-day bender around town, not trying to help solve this murder that might be involved with like a union strike at the harbor nearby. But it's also kind of in like a weird sci-fi, steampunk, futuristic-y sort of, but not really world.
No spoilers.
Yeah, and this is all that you find out just like almost immediately.
Okay.
And then you have to try and find this. But like every single conversation you can have with any person in that game, you can go into incredible depth. And it seems like any information you can pull out of any of those conversations will affect any conversations you will have with literally anyone else in that world, because you can pull information you've learned from there and the game just knows you know it. So you would obviously ask this question and the game has done that. And you can go back and forth between these same people, but you're on a timer. Like your timer is not real time. Your timer is when you're talking to people. So the more you talk to someone and learn more about them, the more the timer ticks.
Okay.
And you only have a certain amount of days before bad things can happen in this area unless you try and solve issues. But certain things you can't even, the map's not very big, but it's just so dense. There's only kind of like 2 major areas to the whole map. But every person that you can go there is just like, you can spend like hours in real time just talking to that person and interviewing them about the murder or whatever, and finding out who you are and why you're there and
all the normal stuff.
But it's also kind of like a choose your own adventure because you are completely amnesiac. Your personality is blank, except for you being a raging alcoholic drug addict. But they make you better at detecting because they actually make your stats go up.
Yes. Makes sense.
You need the drink because it makes you a better detective. So you're fighting between like, oh, I might need to be making these tests. I know this type of alcohol makes me better at those kind of tests, but now you're a raging alcoholic. And your philosophy is totally wrapped around your conversations with people. Like you might become a raging feminist and you have a thought. And that's like the research system in the game is you have a thought about something. Where did I come from? Where did I live? What is this armor that's on this dude? And you put it into your little thought area. And as time ticks, you think about that in your head. And when that completes, you get some bonuses to your stats because you've completed your thought about like, am I a feminist? Yes, I am. And that will come up later in conversations. You'd be like, that's sexist. And you can point it out to people and be like militant about it. I believe the stat is raging militant feminist. But you can also become like a communist or a liberal or a moderate or a billion other things, like, because the game is broken down into like 4 stats that break down what is your psyche, like what is hand-eye coordination, what is empathy, what is electrochemistry. It's like your whole body has been broken down into all these stat lines that you can just put skill points into, and that's how you play this game. And it's absolutely phenomenal. It's been the best thing I've played in many, many, many years. And now that everything is fully voice acted, so pretend it's Baldur's Gate, but a detective noir story.
That in depth.
Yes. But it's a couple blocks in this weird coastal town.
Okay.
But compact that entire game that is Baldur's Gate into just those couple blocks of depth. And it's fucking insane.
Okay.
You can die if you turn the light switch on because your hangover is so bad.
What?
And you fail the test and it kills you.
That's easily one of the most ridiculous things I have ever
Like one
heard.
of the first tests as you wake up from this blaring hangover is like the fan is spinning above you and it has 2 dangling hooks. And one of the tests is like, do you know what the dangly things are? And if you pass it, it's like, oh, one has a little light bulb on it. One has a little fan on it. Otherwise, it's just like, pull one of them. And if you turn the lights on, you have a blaring absolute 2-day bender hangover and you've just turned on the lights right in front of your eyeballs. And you have a roll to test to not die.
Kills you. I don't think that it represents at all how hangovers work.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Granted, I've never been on a 2-day bender.
yeah.
So I don't know what a 2-day bender hangover
And it's really
is
more like a many year bender that has led up to this.
Okay.
But yeah.
The 2 years were just the
The 2 days.
capstone.
Yeah. The
2 days.
capstone of many different capstones. Yeah, Disco Elysium is very, very, very good.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I played a little bit of it. I enjoyed it, but I was just like, I don't have the time to put into this game, so I returned it.
Yeah, once I got into it and started going, I was just like, I needed to keep going nonstop.
How many hours did it take?
36 to 40.
And how many days did you do that 36 to 40 hours in?
I'd say, I don't know.
A week? 2 weeks?
No, it was over like 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah.
That might be a reasonable investment of time for me.
Yeah, it was extremely, extremely, extremely good. And the test system is all 2d6, so you can really tell what your chances are of actually like getting any of these tests and stuff like that. You always have modifiers, and when you talk to people, you can get modifiers to your test because you're trying to, like, if it's some agility test, like someone's holding a gun up to you or something like that. As an example, that's not something specific, but you could be like, no, wait, you're drunk. That's why you're pointing this gun at me. You're really going to regret your decisions. Or you can come up with like different arguments and stuff like that will add to that stat roll to try and like succeed the test. So like the more
the test in this situation, like not being drunk and by you, or not being shot, not getting shot, and by you realizing they're drunk, you get a bonus because now you realize that. So
yes,
you can like
they have worse of an aim.
Correct.
But if you didn't realize they're drunk, their aim isn't worse all of a
you
sudden
wouldn't
because
you wouldn't
didn't
get
know?
that to your stat test. Exactly.
you wouldn't
Yes.
know that they're drunk, so like you can't prepare for that when they're going to shoot you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because when they're drunk, you always shoot them.
Well,
right,
and
you know,
and every and all
Zach
of
at
those
least gets my complaint here, where I'm saying like if they're drunk,
but the
it
thing
shouldn't
is,
matter.
if you didn't realize they're drunk, maybe the story will go to where they weren't drunk because everything has like a million branches to it. Yeah. It's and there's this kid Kuno, you punch that little shit right in the face. I just
feel
punch
like,
right in the
I
face.
feel like you made a comment
Yeah.
about that being a bad decision.
Kuno is one of the first characters you meet because he's right next to the body that you have to investigate for this murder. And fuck Kuno, man. Ugh.
Right on.
It's very good. It's very good.
mm-hmm.
It's very, 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 very good.
That's your Disco Elysium review / coverage.
Yeah.
I'll talk about one game real quick.
So I was gonna say, what do you got, Zach?
So we have a PS5. I have PS5. Jeff has a PS5.
Yes.
But there haven't been really many PS5 like exclusive games.
Yes.
Almost all of them have been cross-gen sort of.
Correct.
Like Miles Morales was
Yep.
PS5 only, but like
No,
Call
you-
of Duty Black Ops was PS5, but it also came out on everything else.
Yeah. but Returnal just came out. This is a game from House Mark. Is that what their name?
Correct.
So they did a lot of like bullet hell games.
They did a lot of PlayStation launch games.
Yeah.
They did Stardust HD. They did Resogun. And now they have done Returnal, which a lot of people have compared to what if you had a budget to do more than a $15 digital download game.
Yeah. Basically, imagine you're in the world more or less of like a mixture of Edge of Tomorrow and Prometheus. And you are acting, you are acting.
I was thinking
like
Alien, but Prometheus is a far better.
And you are acting like the scientists in Prometheus and Alien Isolation. Where you're like, ooh, what does this do? Ooh, what does this do?
Huh? What is this alien technology that's going to attach itself to my spine?
One of my favorite things is there's a hole that has clearly a bunch of like spikes surrounding the hole, and you're just like, let me put my hand in there, and then it like injects good stuff in you, and you're like, I guess that was fine. Or there was there's one part where there's like a giant alien hole that like open and like a door opens up on its scene, and then you're like, oh, I wonder what's in here, and you like slide your way into the hole that's alien shaped, like you're like in one of the legs, and then it just closes on you, and then it opens up later, and you're like, I wonder what that did.
Like, I don't know. Yeah. Do I have Wolverine powers now? Because that's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah. But besides that, it has like roguelike elements in it.
It's a third person roguelike bullet hell shooter.
Yeah.
So where's the Mirror's Edge component come in?
Edge of Tomorrow is
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow
is that if you
die, you go back to the beginning.
You go back to the beginning and you start again.
And you just keep going. That's where the roguelike is.
Yes.
Sure. Okay.
But also the aliens look like they're very tentacly fast moving dudes like those guys. So
okay.
Yeah.
Returnal.
Yes. But it's been fun so far. First boss was real annoying. And has finally beat it, and I'm on the second one now. Like the first, also there's like what's sort of interesting is that when you start the game, your character is like comes up to like dead bodies of herself, and she's like, what the fuck? And like she realizes like she was already in the loop like when you start.
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay.
And then there's like a lot of like weird stuff going on. There's like a house. Just like a 2-story house there.
It's like your house from Earth.
Yeah. And you're
just
like
there. And
what's really, I'm not going to say annoying, but it's just like when you go in there, it switches to like first person, and it's like, this is now so much more creepier than it was before.
It becomes what was it, PE?
Yeah, PT. Yeah.
PT, yes. Very PT-like. There's a clock, there's a table, there's pictures, there's creepy things happening. It's like, I'm playing Silent Hills now.
Yeah.
Except I'm Space Lady.
Yeah. But I'm Space Lady, yeah. But it's been a lot of fun so far. So it's hard,
super fun.
But it's been fun.
Yeah. $70 roguelike. We'll see. Hopefully the story has payoffs for what they have laid, because the questions might be more interesting than the answers.
Yeah.
And $70 is a lot for a roguelike.
And that's what games are now.
Yeah, that's what games are now. So
it's not what roguelikes are usually.
No. This is definitely the biggest budget roguelike there has been.
Yeah.
And now it's time to end banter.
So on to some news and Kickstarters.
Or news and Kickstarter.
New and Kickstarter.
Yes. First and only up in news, the 15th annual Golden Geek Award winners of 2020 were announced. I don't hate really any of them for once.
I have played almost nothing that won. And
I surprisingly own most that have won, but also have not played.
I have not played most that won or were runners up. Like the list here is a bunch of games that I have almost zero experience with. It really shows how much I just stepped out of the hobby for a year. It's like, there's a pandemic and I'm not playing games with people in person. Time to switch to video games.
Our marketing guy at Avery is a huge board gamer, so I'd always have little chats with him as well, which was nice. So let's break them down. 2-player game. Undaunted, North Africa. Absolutely. Undaunted, fantastic game.
And I heard the North Africa one did a better
adds vehicles
job.
and fun stuff like that. No idea what Unmatched is, but I heard Imperial Struggle was not great. I think Paul had picked up Imperial Struggle thinking it would be a Imperial
Twilight Struggle.
I think that's
Twilight
how
Struggle
it was pitched, maybe.
But I think it's just a lot more convoluted, maybe. So
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'd heard it was not what people were wanting as a Twilight.
not the
struggle.
classic that Twilight Struggle was.
Yeah.
So,
Artwork presentation on Mars. On Mars looked very good.
it did,
Yep.
I own Lost Ruins of Arnak,
which
and
we still need to play.
still need to play. Calico, you did play.
I did play.
It has
did.
cats.
It looks pretty. Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks a game with
Looks
looking
good. Has cats.
The card game winner, Dune Imperium, has cards.
has cards.
Has cards.
Has cards.
I like that
It
one
is-
of the top comments on the entire awards was, "It is the most BGG thing ever for Dune Imperium to win best card game."
Yes. It is also an area control with a board and a lot of other things that aren't just purely card related.
but it has cards. So.
It does have cards. Runner up Fort, which
So-
I did.
Does that mean that when we next do an award, I can give Terraforming Mars another award by calling it the best card game?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Even best, you can give it best art, whatever you want.
I already did that. So I think
Best
we did
area
art. I
control
think we did
game.
art / components.
just best consistent art. Terraforming Mars.
It is. It is
The gameplay
primarily.
is mostly card driven.
Yes.
It is definitely, we're joking over the top here, but
yeah.
But you think as a card game as not having any sort of board or pieces or whatever. You think of it as a card game as cards.
Mhm.
Like Fort, which is entirely card based.
Yep.
With I think it does have a couple tracker tokens. in
And
there.
I've never even heard of fucking Oceans, so I don't even
I've
know.
heard of it, but yeah.
Cooperative game Gloomhaven because it was
It's Gloomhaven.
It was a
It's
year
Gloomhaven.
that had
It's gonna
Gloomhaven in the
Yep.
thing. Pandemic Legacy Season 0, which we need to get to at some point.
Yep.
Did you both get copies of yet?
I
know
have-
you
I
did,
do.
Zach.
Yeah.
You do have a copy.
We can just
But there's no different colors or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or we could just play together. But
Yeah.
I know Ant and Julie are going to want to play. Or Ant, Wes, Andrew, you two.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
We'll make it
We'll
work.
include our friends somehow.
Forgotten Waters, a very good cooperative board game that we
Definitely.
played through the entirety of in the
Yay.
last year. Very good. Expansion, Wingspan. It was another. I don't know what the Oceania expansion for Wingspan added.
It's
more
like-
more birds.
Water birds.
Water
It's
birds.
like,
Caw.
I don't know,
But, like,
ducks.
It
No.
added like
No, I mean it's gonna
some
it's
other
gonna,
score things.
It's gonna add birds from the Oceania region.
Yeah.
So
It added some extra eggs. Whatever.
Sure.
Uh,
I found an egg from, I think, Ryan's copy of Wingspan that he lent me when I was like trying to play it for the review way back in the day.
Lance.
It was Lance. That's
Lance,
right. I couldn't
yes.
remember who lent me.
Lance
their
was the
copy.
one person we knew that had it, so we could review it.
That's
Yes.
right. That's right. Well, I found one of the eggs from his copy under the couch when I was cleaning there like a month ago.
Nice. The Root Underworld expansion and Spirit Island Jagged Earth. I wouldn't know anything about Spirit Island because I haven't played it since we reviewed it.
And I was broke and unemployed when Jagged Earth was on Kickstarter, so I didn't back it, and so I have no access to it.
Yeah.
I am desperate for a copy of it.
Innovative. Micro Macro Crime City, which is sort of like a I don't know how to describe this game. It's probably why it's the most innovative. Find small traces to solve the big cases. So it's like a huge like map that you're trying to find little clues in this huge black and white sort of art area. And you have like little highlighter tokens to be like, I think these are clues and things like that. It looks super interesting.
How long has innovative even been a category? I don't feel like I've talked about innovative very much.
I don't know. I'm sure Wingspan won it last time, so
I think it did because I think I bitched about it that there
Yeah.
was nothing fucking innovative about that other than how accessible it is.
Micro Macro looks super cool. I would be interested in trying it. And it seems like it doesn't have much of a price to it, like $30, something like that, maybe less.
I haven't heard of any
The
of
Search
these
for
next
Planet
year.
X and Beyond the Sun following that up, which I think, did you play Beyond the Sun? There was some sun-based game that you played about escaping. Oh, that's
Soul.
yeah.
The Last Days of a Dying Star.
That's it. But I heard Search for Planet X was very good as well. Light Game of the Year, Micro Macro. Project L, which we did play.
and I wasn't a fan of.
I did like Project L. Santa Monica, which I have no idea. Medium Game of the Year, Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Do we really need to go through all of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Lost Ruins of Arnak, Dune, Calico. See, that one was easy.
Okay.
Heavy Game of the Year, Gloomhaven, on Mars, Viscounts, West Kingdom. I have all those West Kingdom games. We need to play them.
Yeah.
Print and play was very important this year because a lot of studios released pandemic-friendly versions of their board games that they could play, like Seven Wonders Duel Solo. That you could play a solo version of Seven Wonders Duel.
I mean, if I wanted to punch myself in the face, I'd just punch myself in the face.
When I like that too, that's like the two, like they have like the 2 to 7 player version. They're like, all right, now we have the duel, and there's like, all right, now we'll just do 1 player version of it.
Yeah.
Solo game Under Falling Skies, which I have played a game of and own, and it is very good. Of course, Gloomhaven is in there. Lost Ruins Varnak, I did not know it was solo. Thematic, Gloomhaven, On Mars, Dune, Wargame, Imperial Struggle. I don't know. It's
yeah.
I have no real opinion of that. But Undaunted, I really liked. Zoomable game, Forgotten Waters, which I think they added in a Zoom version of the app that you would know that you're streaming and be able to like do different actions and stuff like that. Because all you have to do is set a camera up on the actions, and people say, I want to go here, I want to go there. And then the app is just doing it, which is nice. Best podcast, So Very Wrong About Games. Congratulations to them.
Once again, not us.
No, not us.
Runners Up, which I don't know if they've done Runners Up for the podcast in the past, but
I think they have.
This game is Broken and Board Game Barrage. And Best App, Root.
Which is a good one.
Yeah, Root is a great app.
Cartographers is also in there, which I did play and very much like the app. I have not played the Wingspan app, but I'm sure it was nominated, and that's why it's runner-up.
Yeah, the Cartographers app is pretty good. It's only solo, but it has like 3 different modes on it. So
yeah, I didn't know about that either, but I've got like $10 in Amazon credit right now, so I might have to check it out. Unless it's another one that's like a stupid Apple exclusive, in which case it can go to hell.
I have no idea.
It can go to hell and it can
I have no
die.
idea. I hope so, though, in that case.
And that's it for Golden Geek Awards.
Which is it for news item.
That's it for news.
I don't have a shitty iPhone or a shitty Android phone over. Got a nice Android phone. It's a Galaxy S9. It's...
They're on what now, the 20 or something?
Yeah, because they went from 9 to 20. There might have been a 10. I'd level up about every 2 or 3 generations.
I mean, I went from a 6S to a 12, so.
He doubled his.
Yeah. It was a pretty good upgrade.
My best upgrade was going from an Android S3 to the S7.
Gotcha.
That was a huge step up. My S3 was a garbage.
My best upgrade was going from Android to iPhone, so.
Get the fuck out. Anyway, moving on to the Kickstarter.
Got him.
Kickstarter.
First up in Kickstarter, only up in Kickstarter, is My Father's Work. This one is very well funded, $467,000 of its $10,000 goal. Just under 5,000 backers with a week left to go, and you can pledge this one for just about $100.
Indeed. So this is coming from Renegade Games, and it is a, I don't know.
It is an innovative game, some would say.
It is. Basically, it's the story of the Dr. Frankenstein family, but you're all various Dr. Frankenstein
mad
families.
scientist
families, trying to create their crazy things. So, they've got a whole bunch of stuff inside of this game. The way the game basically plays, they have a few different scenarios. I didn't really look over the scenarios. I'm gonna move right on past them. Way down here where they actually have a little bit about how you play.
2 to 4 players, competitive.
Yes.
You're entrusted with a page from their father's journal, along with a large estate in which to perform their devious experiments. Players earn points by completing experiments, aiding the town in its endeavors, upgrading their macabre estates, and hopefully completing their father's work in this app-driven, branching narrative game.
Yes. So the basic way that, the key parts of what you're going to be playing, what you're going to be doing in the game, you go to different locations on the main, region board, to gather resources, knowledge and ingredients. They show on their little Giphy thing here, you go to, the market and you get a fox. Then you can perform experiments by turning in ingredients to make different cards. Your personal player board is like a multi-level estate board. And so you can add different like rooms and things to it that kind of bump it up and improve it and give you different abilities. And then the game plays out over 3 generations of this like mad scientist family. So the different things you do like tuck under this multi-level player board to give you different abilities and things that make different like future generations have some of that base knowledge and base experiments to build off of. And the ultimate goal is you want to complete a masterwork experiment, which like
the Frankenstein's monster, if you will.
The Frankenstein's monster. They show like some crazy fucking lycanthrope werewolf thing for this one. It looks pretty cool. Overall, they've got a ton of like minis and different components for like the ingredients and resources you can collect. The player boards, like I said, are all dual layered, and they've got different spots to put all the different tokens and things. Just a bunch of different stuff like that. They're also using the game trays. Because those guys are fucking everywhere. I remember when they were like, nobody's doing the Terraforming Mars like trays, and now they are just everywhere.
Absolutely. Manage your creepiness.
Yeah, so they have a creepiness track. I forgot about this because I saw it when I was scrolling through earlier. So like different things you do will increase your creepiness, and if it gets all the way to the top, the villagers come after you with like pitchforks.
The angry mob.
So the token like flips over to the angry mob side. And it causes all kinds of penalties until you reduce your creepiness low enough that it flips back over and they're like, okay, you're not as creepy anymore, so we'll leave you alone for a bit.
It's a pitchfork that is literally on fire.
But yeah, it looks kind of cool. It's a lot of stuff. And like Jeff said, it's like $100, and I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Yeah, it seems like it has a lot of content. They say that you have like 1 in like a billion chance, multi-billion chance to see the same story events the same way.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't really look into when I was scanning through it earlier the different scenario aspects of it. So I'm not really sure how that affects the gameplay itself.
Yeah, it seems like there's some that are like you're fighting against the church or you're in your classic Frankenstein situation. But all of these kind of go over multiple generations. That's kind of the hook. Also, the app will be, as it has been unlocked fully, voiceover.
Oh,
yeah,
gotta love the
when we've been playing through our journeys in Middle Earth, we're like, why isn't the app reading us out all of this?
Forgotten Waters really spoiled us.
Yeah, because
I want Piccolo to tell me things.
Yeah, Piccolo. Is he also Vegeta?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I remember
but Piccolo, and he kind of has the same Piccolo voice, so you can really feel Piccolo telling you all these pirate stories.
What if you've never watched enough Dragon Ball Z to know what Piccolo sounds like?
He's the green guy.
Literally the only reason I know that Piccolo is Dragon Ball Z is because of listening to the Dragon Ball Z podcast on the way to Gen Con the one year.
All Systems Goku.
All Systems Goku, that's right.
It's a very good podcast. But yeah, a lot of scenarios, the upgrades. I mean, it's making $1 billion million.
Yeah, there's a ton of shit for it.
If you want it, get it now because it's not going to retail. You have to get it in this Kickstarter.
That is it for news and Kickstarter. Well, I didn't see that one over. Jesus Christ.
How much time is left on that?
I don't know.
I'll look at it.
I probably would have covered that. We were also looking at Stationfall if you want to go see what other things we were looking at. Anyhow, moving right along, Wes is now very interested in potential of dice.
It's 23 days. We're fine.
All right, we'll cover it next week. Except we won't
2
be
weeks.
here. 2 weeks. It'll still be there in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So moving along to some listener feedback. We've got listener feedback. I know there's at least one thing from Boyd over in the email section. If Jeff is ready to do emails.
Yeah, I'm here. What you need? Emails at milehighgameguys.com if you would like to send us an email like this trash human did. Human as in Twilight Imperium, not human as a person. Adrian needs witness protection. Hello, guys. It's been too long since I've emailed the show, but I blame COVID because that has to do with emails. I enjoyed Adrian's story of witnessing the very odd interaction at the restaurant with the lady that wouldn't acknowledge the man while the other lady went to the restroom. I have my own theory. I think Adrian witnessed a con. The woman that went to the restroom was the victim of the con, clearly. The con was the man's idea, and although the woman that remained at the table was going along with it, she felt guilty doing so and wasn't happy about it. She was maybe even being forced to cooperate with the con against her will. When the victim excused herself to the restroom, the man wanted to talk to his partner in crime and make sure she knew the plan. But the reluctant con partner didn't want to acknowledge him or talk about it due to her deep shame. So now that Adrian has witnessed the crime and talked about it on a podcast with a huge listenership, should he go into witness protection? Texas is probably far enough away, and I could use a gaming friend. Think about it, Andrew.
My concern is that maybe they were visiting from Texas because they were all three pretty lackadaisical about their masks, and that's really all I have to go on. But that would tell me they might be from Texas. So maybe staying in Colorado in witness protection and continuing to do a podcast just with a different name would be the safest and best way to go about it. AKA, I don't want to go to Texas.
Unless it's for BGG Con.
Yes.
For probably too much money.
I am willing to go to Texas for short trips. I am not willing to go to Texas to flee and live my life.
What about like the hot middle of summer?
No. Pass. Hard pass. Yeah. That is pretty much it for listener feedback. There is a comment on episode 226, What Did I Witness? Which is the podcast that Boyd is referring to, our previous, most recent episode. Paulo from Paulo's Corner commented on YouTube, Adrian has a problem with French names. And then he linked a YouTube video that I actually had meant to watch a long time ago and I had not watched. I don't know what it includes. It's how to pronounce
Troy's.
Trois.
Trois?
I don't want to play it because I don't know if it's going to like blast the stream.
Troyes.
But the board game.
I
That
think
I probably pronounced
Troyes
Troyes is probably how I said it. Because I also would not have,
Troyes.
I also almost certainly would not have recognized that as a French word. Normally, like if somebody wasn't like, hey, Adrian doesn't know how to say this French word. But yeah, so this is also not the first time I've been criticized for my French pronunciation, despite the fact that I took 2 years of a program in high school that swore you would be fluent in French if you took 4 years of it. You know,
Well, you didn't take the 4 years. So.
I guess year 3 is when they teach you proper pronunciation.
No, the last week of 4 is when it all gels together, and
Sure.
they're like, now I get it.
It's like some advanced learning where unless you do all 4, none of it works.
Yep.
Or if terrible wineries are putting antifreeze in their wine.
Is that a thing that happened recently?
In an episode of The Simpsons, when Bart is trapped on a winery and he goes to the police and says, these people have been keeping me captive and forcing me to work on their farm, and then they're putting antifreeze in the wine. They're like, antifreeze in the wine, and then they go and arrest him.
We did have one more YouTube comment that I had forgotten about. This was on our
Game of Thrones,
our Game
very
of Thrones
first stream,
game, which was our first stream ever. We completely there was so much wrong from a technical perspective. Like this was back when we were using 400 bits. When
From
like
it
now we
should have
stream
been
3,000 or something.
4,800.
But one thing that we've gotten a lot of praise about is like the layout and how we set up the cameras and the board and everything. And that's what this one from Work Throwaway. I like the setup for seeing the board, but damn, are y'all a negative complaining group. That and the quote, fucking dog comment early in. Thinking about when that stream was, I'm pretty sure that we would have very, very recently gotten Jester. She would have been like almost brand new to the house. So she was almost certainly a complete terror. And I probably did say fucking dog at some point in that stream.
And I think we were having a bunch of technical problems.
We were having so many issues. That stream was one like I had to splice together 3 different files because it kept like cutting out and dropping, and there were so many issues. And I was able to get it all like put together.
No, it's definitely not our best. Unfortunately, it's our high.
Is wildly popular on YouTube.
Yeah.
Wildly. Millions.
Relative to
and
us.
Millions.
By our standards of like, so it's got like 1,000 views. But yeah. So that is indeed going to be it. It's wildly with caveats. Like I said, by our standards, wildly popular.
Yeah.
Anyhow, that's it for listener feedback. If you would like to participate in listener feedback in a future episode, there are plenty of ways to do so. You can send us an email.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can find us over on Twitter, where I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
We have our Instagram account @MHGameGuys, which, I don't know, we'll put something on there at some point. Jeff would do painting his cool minis and stuff, but that didn't happen.
It'll happen.
So maybe when we get back to like doing game nights in hopefully, I don't know, a few months, we'll do photos of games and stuff. We also have our Facebook account that we definitely don't ever really use, but if you want to still give us a like over there for metric reasons, facebook.com/MHGameGuys. For our website, milehighgameguys.com, it is available, but it's not being updated anymore. I recommend you check out punchboardmedia.com, where we still regularly post all of our show notes, along with links to the news and Kickstarter items that we talk about on the show. So if you want more information about the things we talk about, you can find it over there in the show notes. You can also check out, while you're there, all of the other awesome creators in Punchboard Media, our big ol' huge media group that we're a part of. One of the links you can find over there that I highly recommend you go seek out is a link to our Slack channel. Our Slack channel is not locked behind a paywall like other podcasts. Anyone can come join our Slack and just talk a crazy amount of shit to me or to Jeff or to Zach, but really mostly to me. You can also like join movie and TV and talk about like, I don't know, Avengers movies or how mediocre Mortal Kombat was.
Or how totally fine Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. For what it was. It was great for what it was.
Which was a mediocre action movie. It was fine for a mediocre action movie. I will grant you that. We also have our BGG guild number 2731. We have our Twitch channel that maybe you're watching this recording on, twitch.tv/MHGameGuys, where we are going to be getting back to doing our regular Friday night game streams, not next Friday, but the Friday after. And then also we'll be doing our live in-studio streams of the recording of these episodes that release on the podcast a few days later. So you can A, get early access, and B, get the unedited, behind-the-scenes ridiculousness.
Depending on how much Zach actually edited.
Depending on how much Zach actually edited. I mean, it's possible
I'm gonna throw more stuff in there. So people are like, was the video edited? Because there's a lot of shit they were saying that isn't in here. I don't understand what's going on.
Like just halfway into this episode, Zach's going to input like episode 2.
Yeah.
Just in its entirety.
The sound quality dropped dramatically at some point.
But yeah. And then, like I said, Mile High Dungeon Delvers, which also streams on our Twitch channel, is going to be on a break for a few weeks while I'm in Michigan. And then we'll be coming back and doing some one-shots, building up to the launch of Season 3, where Clue will be our DM. That is pretty much everything for this episode. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. It was awesome having everyone join us in the stream. It was nice being back in studio for the first time in well over a year. And yeah, that's going to be it. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm befuddled Jeff.
Bye.
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 Where we all
Bring something
to the table.
pull up a chair
At punchboardmedia.com.